And now we're live.
All right, we are live. Can we say it one more time for the camera? What's our priority for the day?
The small group squad meeting.
Two, and are you three?
What are you talking about? 2 and 3.
Squad 2 and squad 3?
Oh, the second squad.
Yeah.
Not squad 2. It's the second squad.
Oh, second squad.
So, yeah, we're talking about strengthening the small group squads, and today we've got a big day. Got a big day ahead of us. There's a few things that we need to talk about. So we have the first squad, we got the second, we've got the third,
And the fourth.
and the fourth. So
How do we know which one's first?
it's the first one that started.
Yes.
Yeah, but then when the
Chronology.
other two break off,
It's still the same group.
what?
It's not that like two different groups are like, it's not like one group is splitting, it's more like there's a different group splitting off of the mother loaf. Like when you got a mother loaf,
Mhm.
you have like that starter and then it breaks off from the larger
Kind of like
piece.
strawberries.
Just like strawberries.
No, I mean the strawberry plant.
I don't understand how
I
that
don't know.
connected. No.
I
It
don't know
makes
about
sense
the
to you and Kathy
strawberries.
because you guys grew strawberries. No, not Kathy either. Oh, okay.
Well,
What?
strawberries
What are you
like
talking
create runners, and like they're like
Yeah.
wee little plants.
Yeah, it's like a runner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like, exactly like strawberry runners.
Alrighty.
And that's what we're doing.
I thought y'all knew.
No, it's okay. That was a good analogy.
It was.
I knew where you were going, I just didn't know about strawberries, but I knew enough about plants to understand what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did that answer your question, Mom?
No.
I'm just thinking if we're breaking off into two more groups, how do you know who's number 3?
It
Because
doesn't
first
matter.
and third. First and
It's
third.
arbitrary.
Yeah. You don't have first and
Do
fourth.
you want to be third? No, you can't be
It
third.
sounds
You're
like
second.
somebody's here. Oh, that's
Does that make sense to you?
yeah, that's the door.
No, Theodore's okay.
Oh, well, let me go up there and look.
Okay, so we got these. We want to find the time for these today, and Kathy is going to help with that.
Yes.
And Thursday, so we want to find the time when we're going to do that. We want to split as soon as possible, so that, and definitely before Tuesday, because
Yes.
Cameron's not going to be with us Tuesday. He's going to be doing something else. I'll be working with Pastor Smith on Tuesday. We'll try to split because we got too many people in our group, and we'll be able to split up.
So third squad will not be on Tuesday.
No, not going to be on Tuesday.
Or if it was, it could be at a different time on Tuesday, not at the same time. But you're saying Tuesday, no, because you're limited. I mean, there is a Monday, and I suppose you can have a Friday squad.
And Sunday.
No, Sunday and Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So preferably not Tuesday then. Okay.
Saturday would
That's not
actually be a
necessarily
really
what
good
I'm saying,
idea.
but it could just. All I'm saying is not at this time.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Definitely, I understand. You're right.
So let's talk about the day of the small group. These are good times to try to put in some effort. Now let's talk about one of the easiest ways to understand how this works is with isogenics. Kathy, what did we have that was similar to small groups with isogenics? What did we work with?
We did, I forget what they call it. It's been a while. We had our conference calls.
Yes, the conference calls. So what were the conference calls? Could you explain that to others?
Conference call is where people get on at different places, and you have so many minutes. You do one thing and then another, and testimonies is one of them, and educating people about health and in general, and then the products. You're breaking it down the conference calls, people from all over the world can join on a conference call.
Yeah, and it's by phone.
So is it like a lot of people join, or is it just, or are they, is their mission to keep them smaller? So
Sometimes
like-
we had as much as 50 people on
Yeah,
a conference call, and other times it was just a dozen. It varied.
The mission is not for like small interactive. It's
Okay.
more like you show up at the beginning. It's interactive with testimonies, and then the other portions you have one teacher, and then you have a second teacher, and then that's what we do. Yeah, but it's similar in the sense that it is a tool. Like what you'll learn in GoPro under the chapter of presenting, there are tools that are provided you to help you present where you can leverage your presentation. A third-party teaching tool is what he talked about. And that's what the conference call is. That's what the small group is.
That's right.
The small group is a third-party teaching tool. Like I was just talking to Frances today. I was like, Frances, how'd you hear about the small groups? And she's like, oh, I was like, who invited you? Thinking like, okay, so I'm going to know who helps. She's like, yeah, my friend Marilyn invited me like 45 minutes before it started, and I'm so glad. And I'm like, who's Marilyn?
She was invited by, what's her name?
Thank you.
Desire, I think.
Oh, Desire invited Marilyn. This is great. Great news. Thank you. So they're part of your group. Good to know. And so anyways, talking to her, and it's a third-party tool. So Desire didn't, I mean, she's a teacher. She like works like full-time in the Philippines. So she didn't have to give a Bible study. So she could just invite Marilyn, come to this event, promoting the event, and have a third party teach. So that third party was me at the time, who was teaching the Bible reading. In like manner, when you have each of you have your small groups, then your team has a third party to share the gospel. It's like the woman at the well approach. Don't be the message, be the messenger. Share your testimony and bring them to the message, one who can proclaim the message. And that's a small group leader going through the Bible reading. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Awesome. Why do you got this deer in the headlights look? What are you thinking
I'm
about?
just thinking.
I could tell. What are you
She's
thinking
putting it
about?
together in her head.
What are you processing? I'm curious.
Just, I don't know. I guess the small groups. Oh, thank you. Just the small groups and like how they work, and I was thinking about like inviting people.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't have to do a Bible study with like an hour and a half Bible study with 20 people. You could do an hour study once and reach 20 people. It's not the one-to-one, it's a one-to-many approach. Mind blowing. That's so helpful.
Yeah, and then like if other people invite you, it grows very fast.
Exponentially.
Yeah.
And the more we grow, the more leaders we develop. Because we just split and it grows more opportunity. Oh, my point was, so with Frances, I was like, hey Frances, would you be interested in being a small group leader? Once I learned a little bit more about her, found out she's from GYC, so I'm like, oh, okay, then she should be fine with a small group leader. Like, would you like to be a small group leader? She's like, I would love to. How do I sign up? What do I do? And I was like, okay, cool. Here's a volunteer funnel. Go sign up and we'll get you plugged in. So it's that simple. So, and what's amazing is how long would that have taken with Frances to enjoy and find value with us? Like if I just randomly reached out to Frances, it wouldn't work. But because Marilyn, because I know Desire, Desire knows Marilyn, Marilyn knows Frances, that's a network. That's a network. So it's creating a network, and it's teaching people how to recruit to that network and increase the productivity of that network. That's all that it really is. It's pretty simple. And that's what we did with network marketing. And so the conference calls were powerful, inviting people. Now, the reason I brought that up is because Kathy taught me a lot about this. What do we do the day of the conference? Or let me ask, how often did we do the conference calls?
Once a week was our key one, but usually in the middle of the week we had a second one. It was usually smaller, but for those people who couldn't attend on Sunday. So we usually had 2 a week.
And what days were they?
Sunday and I think it was either Tuesday. I think it was
I think
Tuesday or
it's
Thursday.
Tuesday or Thursday also.
It was either Tuesday or Thursday, but we know the Sunday one was the largest attended one.
Yes, and the other one started with a T. So the day of Sunday, what would we do on that day in preparation for the call?
Invite, invite, invite.
So,
We spent the time beforehand making sure they remembered today is the day we get to learn about.
yes. We're doing the inviting, which is connected with reminding.
Yeah, it's a reminder.
Reminding for some, inviting for others.
Yes.
So this is the concept. It's the same thing. It's just like how you would go out door to door and you would be calling people. Well, you're calling people phone to phone, screen to screen, different medium, same method, same message, same principle. Techniques are temporary, principles are permanent. And you're going through the streets of social media or your contacts or your who do you know list or whatever the case is. You're going through and you're inviting people and reminding them like, hey, we got the small group today. Can you come check it out? Here's a funnel. This is a link. And I'd love to see you there. We can do this together. Would you be interested in doing this with me? That phrase with me is like really powerful for inviting. Yeah, you're just getting commitments, reminding people. And so that's what we want to do today is help to remind people that it's there. And is it just inviting our contacts?
Mm-hmm. How like telling people to invite others.
Yes, encouraging the others to invite. When we invite ours, and it's the who do you know? Who do you know that would, also want to benefit, be blessed?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're working with our team to get referrals and to invite their contacts, their sphere of influence, their network, the people they know. So that's what Eric Worre calls going through the doorways. It's not about who you know, but it's who you meet and who they know and how you meet them. So it's really powerful. There's just unlimited number of people that we could reach for Christ. It's just like Francis too. It's amazing how that works from Desire to Marilyn to Francis. Now Francis being a small group leader, she's going to be inviting people, and now you have access to all of her contacts, and she's taking ownership because she's like, this is my ministry, my service, my contribution to the cause of God. This is how I can dedicate myself to Christ's service and develop as a leader and live my calling and all these and help people find direction from God. It's just like, so it's just like, it's such a beautiful thing.
Amen.
But that's why we have to lead by example. We have to invite people, and by inviting people, like think about it this is a result. So this is high level, right? But imagine if none of these words were here. No, actually, I could do it over here. Okay. So,
that's like the small group is the result.
No. Oops. The result here is inviting. Or I'll say like attendance or something.
Attendance.
Yeah, that's really
That's
So-
the result.
Kamran. Kamran. Remember James P. Friel that talked about two different types of goals.
We got, one of them was results goals.
Which is attendance. This is a results goal. How many people do you want to attend? So it's like, how fast do we want to get to 10 and split? How many leaders do you want to develop? That's a result. And what were the other ones?
I don't quite remember the other one. Was it objective?
It was a process.
Process, okay.
So the word process is a synonym with framework.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the framework. These are the steps that you do in order to get the results. This is really cool when you understand. See, what we're doing here is we're taking prior knowledge that we learned from other courses and we're applying it to newer knowledge that we just learned this morning, and we could see how it's all connected. So, and you can apply this to every area of your life, and it's so encouraging because these are principles. So, one thing that we have to do, the first step for attendance is connecting.
How about like a reminder? Would that be in one of them?
Let's process.
Because
Yeah, we could put it under inviting. You know what we could also do is if we there's even like a bigger result than this. We don't really just want people to attend. What is the ultimate result we're trying to do with the small groups?
Make leaders to teach leaders.
Yes. That's really the ultimate result. So we want to develop leaders. So when you invite them, then they then attendance is over here. And then we have the follow-up. And with that follow-up, we invite them to be leaders. We turn them around and say, hey, who do you know? Who do you know and who can invite?
And we teach them and we let them lead it. And then when they break off.
Yeah, and then we teach them how to do what we just did.
And give them the experience.
Yeah, doing the experience. Does that make sense? But did you know that you can actually break the inviting into 7 steps? There's a framework for inviting. And those 7 steps are found in the GoPro book. And the follow-up, there's a whole chapter in the GoPro book. There's a whole chapter of promoting events with attendance in the GoPro book. And connecting, there's a whole chapter on that too. And who do you know that's like the 2nd chapter?
Do we share the GoPro with everybody or?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some people like Jason, you could definitely be like, Jason, read this GoPro book and apply it for what you're doing and for the small groups. You're going to learn.
Amen.
But remember Sister Christina? Like
s'mores.
Philea, when she was doing a video on inviting,
Mm-hmm.
she's just teaching the GoPro book to you guys. And then but when we teach these things public and we share them, we're not teaching using their terminology, we're teaching using biblical terminology.
Amen.
Biblical watchwords, so we're sharing in terms of evangelism. And
Speaking in their language.
Yeah, we're speaking in a language that will appeal to our avatar. This is our audience, our who. And so that's what Christina was doing, and that's what she still does today. So it's extremely effective, and that's why she's a leader of another ministry. She's developing leaders over there.
Yeah. It's like we all were learning how to be a leader, and then she broke off, and now she's teaching people how to be leaders.
How to do what she
Hopefully
did.
they break off, and
Yeah. It's a ripple effect of that's how the influence just beyond our sphere of influence.
Amen.
Beautiful thing.
It is. That's the Great Commission.
Yes. So the connecting is something that we want to do every day. And remember what we were talking about last night, to you two? What was the purpose of me showing you the leadership funnel?
There's a process, and you don't have to have everyone on the same step.
Yes. Why is it important to know that you don't have to have everybody on the same step?
You don't get stressed out, and overwhelmed.
Yes.
And people could go where they're at,
Yes.
not rushing or leaving somebody behind.
And what you can look at with the result is basically, this is like the harvest, right? What you sow is what you reap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a law of sowing and reaping. So what we're looking for is a result. We're looking for results of leaders. That's what we want to harvest.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to harvest that, we have to be sowing seeds. Every connection, every relationship, every contact, all the inviting, all of this is a seed that we are sowing when we're reaching people for the gospel. We're sowing the seeds of truth in people's minds and their learning. So the key is, if you want to have a continual harvest, you need to never stop sowing. You have to sow every single day. Sow value, sow the Word of God, sow into other people's lives. And that was the main purpose of why I shared the leadership funnel with you last night, is to show that because each people are on the other step, you don't want to just stop with like Leah and Susie. They're like one's here, and you're waiting on them. And then you're just like focused on work. No, the 4 levels of value. Imagination, communication. The more that you master those 2 things, you will be able to sow value into people's lives and reap an abundant harvest, that you will, like, huge harvest in heaven of souls as you are continuing to sow into people's lives and help them to understand the Word of God and to see new epiphanies in their lives. So it takes, like, from the time that you sow a seed to when you can harvest, how long does it take? About 3 months. When you know that law of sowing and harvest, then you'll know that by the time you first meet someone to the time that they like really develop as a leader and like they turn around and they say yes and they go forward, it's going to be about 3 months. So if you understand that framework in your mind, then you think, okay, well, from the time I meet this person, it's going to develop and grow and more. So like Anel, he just signed up to be a small group leader this morning. You know how long ago I met him?
A couple days, a few days,
It was about 3 months ago.
3 months.
That was my first interactions with him. I started sewing. It was about 3 months. It works almost every time. It's the law of large numbers. Averages. The law of averages. It's not exactly some are really ripe and ready to harvest. That's because other people have been sowing and preparing the soil, and then you come in. Others, it varies, but the law of large numbers and averages, like, it's about 3 months per person. And also Brother Musa, you know how long I've known him? Been like talking to him?
For a while, huh?
It's about 3 months.
Oh.
Maybe 4. So when you understand this, then you just know you don't have to stress, you don't have to, like, one of the things that people get super wrong in doing evangelism is they think that the first conversation they could be like, don't you know about the Sunday law? It's like, this is going to come, and it's like, you don't want to get the mark of the beast.
Right now.
It's like, turn right now. And it's like, whoa. It's like, I don't want what you have.
Stop everything you've ever known.
Yeah.
Do it all
It's like,
different.
everything that you know about God is wrong.
Not
Let me
life.
re-educate you. It's like, we just come at this approach of evangelism like totally wrong. But you have to realize, as gospel workers, 119 says, there will come time for doctrines. Focus on what you have in common, what you can agree on. Let the soil be prepared. Then sow the seed, and then people will be able to harvest. So the difference between successful soul winners and people that are not is they're trying to get from here to here. They sow the potato in the morning, and they get upset that they can't harvest it for lunch the
What?
same day. So
It's intense.
we have to have a long commit to the journey, commit to the individual, commit to meeting new people. And there's a lot of averages. Like, out of every, like, here's another law too, or I mean, here's another, I won't say it's a law, here's another statistic that in terms of inviting people, how many people out of every 10 invites show up?
1, 3. So it's
Average.
10%.
1. Now, when you're first getting started, 1 out of 10 people that you invite will attend your small group. So, you have to, like yesterday I invited about 10 people, and, I think maybe like 3 of them are gonna come, and maybe like 4 of them said like they almost like changed the conversation, but I planted a seed, and I'm going to get back to that seed later, but I'm going to continue connecting with them. If they said no, doesn't mean I stop talking to them, it just means like I'm going to keep on connecting with them, get to know them, see what do we have in common, how can I serve them, how can I bless them. Maybe they're not ready for the small group, maybe they want to know how to study the Bible. Hook, see what they actually want, meet their needs, seeing what do we have to offer that can actually help that individual. How can I serve them with something that I have? And as they build that, then they're like, hey, I know, like, and trust this guy. I want to be around him. If I like him, I probably would like his friends. Then, hey, what was going on with that group you were saying about a while ago? And that's when they start showing up and attending. But I'm committed to the journey, and there's always people in the funnel. I'm just putting new people every single day that I'm meeting and having conversations with.
Intentional.
And it's just very intentional in how that happens. And that's how Carmen got here.
Amen.
Praise the
And
Lord.
it was a very personal interaction, right? But it was following a system. What was I saying about? Okay. So that's one. Now that kind of seems bleak, right? So if you want 5 people to show up to your small group,
50.
you want to invite 50.
That'd
Who's
be
ready to invite
10.
50 people? Yeah? You got to know your numbers. I'm ready. I'm ready to invite 50. It's only intense if you believe it is. That's why knowing your numbers helps you to expand your mind and have realistic expectations. If you invite 1, 2, 3 people, and you're like, oh, the 3 people I invited, they said no, they don't want to hear about the gospel, they don't want to hear about Jesus, this stuff doesn't work, nobody's interested in
right.
Christ. Yeah, it's like nobody cares about Jesus, or I can't teach others, I'm a terrible evangelist because the 3 people I shared with, they said they didn't want to hear it. My mother, my sister, and my brother. What am I going to do with my life? I could never be a missionary. I could never work for God. That's a problem. That's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is, Jesus said, cast thy bread upon the waters, and after many days it will come back. It's broadcasting. The sower went forth to sow. There's 4 types in this parable of the sowers. The 4 types of seeds. Some the birds got them, and they get taken away. Some they fall on stony ground. They show up, they go to the attendants who follow up, and they're super excited. But then when it gets kind of difficult or inconvenient, they fall away because they never really got settled in. And then others, they come and then they get choked up. They get too busy with the cares of this life. There's so many other priorities in life, so they can't do it. But there's one out of 4. That's 25%. That would mean like 2 out of 10 people, or 3 out of 10 people, they actually turn out to be a really good, fruitful thing. So you want to know how to increase that number? It doesn't have to be like that. 1 out of 10 people I invite is not necessarily that I have a higher number.
It just depends on like how the skill of inviting, right?
Exactly. Develop the skill of inviting.
Inviting would be like persuasion. That's my next thing that I want to study.
Well, that's good. So I have some resources for you. Develop the skills. When you develop the skill of inviting, like the chapter on inviting in the GoPro book, you know how many times I've listened to that chapter?
20.
A lot of times.
At least 20 times. It's a 30-minute chapter. I've listened to it on repeat. I've listened to it during day, like traveling, or when we drive in an hour drive over to Fresno. You can listen to it twice, just on the way to Fresno back in California, or just try to find different times. And the reason why I listen to it 20 times is because I'll listen to it, I'm like, oh wow, that makes sense, okay, cool. So then he teaches a framework for inviting people, and then you go out and you try and do it, and you're like, oh, this is like,
Wait a minute.
I followed exactly what he said, but people aren't showing up, what am I doing wrong? And then I go back and listen to it, I'm like, oh, I skipped that step, I totally missed that. It's like, oh, okay, that's where I went wrong. Oh, I did that, that's why it worked. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So let me go out and do it again. And I go out and then I just totally bomb it, and I cut them off like Peter. I chop off their ear, and they don't want to hear. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? So I listen to it again. I'm like, oh, but this time I got further than the last. So each time you just want to make sure that I guess your lows are higher than the last. But that's how you do it. And every time you have an apparent failure, you learn from the experience. You go back and study what made that difference, and you do better. And then you fail, and you learn, and you fail, and you learn, and then each time you get better and better. Does that make sense?
Skill.
That's how skill works. Developing the skill of inviting more people to show up, because you can easily turn that number into like a 4 or 5. Wouldn't that be nice for you to invite 50 people and 25 people show up?
Mm-hmm.
If you invite, if you keep your skills low, and remember, skills
It's a talent, right?
is a talent. We're talking about talent development. And that's our vision, right? Identify your talents and dedicate your talents to Christ's service. So this is a fundamental skill of evangelism, is inviting people to prayer meeting, to small groups, to church, inviting them to evangelistic series, inviting them to conferences, inviting them to camp meetings, inviting them to seminars and events, inviting them to courses, inviting. Inviting is a skill.
That's right.
And this is our purpose in life. Jesus gave the parable. They say, hey, I made this wonderful wedding. Go out and bid them. Go to the highways and the byways and bid them. That means invite them to come to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Isn't the whole plan of salvation is dependent upon God's people inviting others to come and see and be a part of what He has to offer? Yes. So think about it like this. Every single day when you're connecting and inviting with people, think about it as though you are living your calling. This is preparation for your life work. There is no phase of human experience that inviting is not going to help you tremendously in your lifetime and your experience and things of that nature. Whatever you're doing, inviting people is a fundamental skill that will make an impact that lasts for eternity if you use it for eternal invitations, like small groups, change people's lives. That's where people's decisions are being made. Does that make sense to everyone? Yep. Are there any questions?
I have some questions.
Okay, go ahead, Mom.
I'm just wondering, when we are doing our small group, where are we going to find the document that we're using that have the studies on it?
It's always on the small group Bible calendar.
Bible calendar?
Yeah, on Notion.
Thank you.
That's something that you and I need to talk about.
What?
Are you going to remember your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the question was, where do they find the Bible readings? I got that question from Leah today, too. And
For some reason, I can't add people to Notion. Still haven't figured it out.
okay. Several people want to know, let me just make a note, Kamran, where do we place the Bible readings so leaders can access? That's why I think like a leadership team, team hub is what Life Church calls it, but a leadership like members area, or something that they could, I want to take the Livecast, cut them into the 4 teaching points. That way they have separate videos that they could watch, kind of like a course. So on this week, watch this video as your preparation for the small group. And then here's your Bible reading that you can go through. This is where you can access it. I think that would be a really easy way for people to get prepared and access to it. I think our Funnelflix or Netflix for evangelism would be a really easy way for them to access that. But I'm wondering, maybe we should create another account until then. I don't know what to do about that. Like another members area. So,
What was the BRM, excuse me?
Bible reading.
Thank you.
Yeah. But until then, you've got the content machine. You've got
We could always
the
put it on Notion too.
Bible reading calendar on Notion. Yeah. Notion would
like-
probably work
Yeah,
well.
put the link on, like,
Oh, can you tell Leah that it's on the Notion?
what?
She's looking for the link to the Bible reading. I told her the content
Yeah, I know.
machine.
She wanted me to add her to the small group, but I can't do that. I can't find
Can you
her.
ask Susie too?
Oh, don't we have to, okay to add people as an admin on the group? When we...
She's talking about Notion.
Oh,
Talking about Notion.
oh.
Okay, Carmen had a question.
Yes. She said she wanted to study inviting
She wanted to invite it, study persuasion.
persuasion. You want to put that on the communication document?
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That'd be super fun.
I already have a sort of sloppy list. I'll make a section
You already have a sloppy list on that.
On persuasion?
on inviting.
Oh, on inviting.
Persuasion.
Okay.
Oh, I already have a section. I think I have a section on persuasion already.
Okay.
I can work on.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
definitely.
Here's the book. And Mom, what was another question you had? Did you write them down?
I had another one, but I can't remember.
Can you write? Are you writing them down? That's good. Good job, Mom. So Carmen and I are going to focus today on trying to create some tools that will help reorganize and keep track of these things, so people have the tools that they need. You know, I have a dream. I have a dream that we can create either like before I thought I wanted to like write a book that was taking the GoPro and just like rephrasing with Bible verses, examples of Christ, and just different like evangelism skills, but going through these basic skills to help people to see how valuable these things are. I think because that book is also one of them that has made the biggest difference in my life in terms of skills. I learned those skills so much from that book, more than like, it was just amazing. It's helped me a lot, and I use them every day. Kind of like How to Win Friends, Influence People. That book is up there. It's a very influential book to me. So I want to take one and use the format and principles for evangelism, because I think people would be transformed if they see that. Because when people think evangelism, they're constantly thinking door to door, and like when I'm thinking evangelism, I'm thinking that book. Like that book to me is like the textbook for a lot of skills today that actually work. And it's not. Yeah. Anyways, what was I going to say about that? Oh, it's a framework. It's just a framework. The whole book is a framework. It's mind blowing. And then in each one is other frameworks. They're embedded frameworks. It's really cool. But I was thinking we can create funnels teaching people some of these things. These skills.
That's cool to create a funnel to teach.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's basically like a course to teach.
Oh, it's a course.
I mean that's what a funnel to teach, a teaching funnel is. It's a course, right?
To invite them to a course? Is that what you mean? A funnel to invite them to a course to learn?
No, I'm talking about the course itself is hosted on a funnel.
No, I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, that's right.
I'd like to see.
Yeah, that'd be good. So, did you remember, does anyone have another question? Comment, concern?
Did we figure out how we're splitting them up?
No, we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to do that with Kathy.
Okay.
But,
What are you doing now?
well, while you're inviting people.
We're almost at a point.
We're going to do it today. This is today's.
Okay.
This is what we're doing today. But while you and Tina are working together to invite people, what I would encourage you both to do, this is going to be extremely helpful, is who do you know list is important, because when you see here where it says service and solution, like your aim and your mission, this is your intention. How are you going to be intentional with this relationship? So it's basically like, what publication do you have them on? You want to like do one at a time. This will change. Like right now, what publication do you have for Leah?
Leadership table.
That's not a publication. That's a whole drip system. Which one?
The one on delegation.
Oh, on delegation. Okay, so that was one publication. So you're giving her assignment as a leader. You give them one step, and then when they finish that, you give them the next step, and you're following a framework. That's the beauty of having a mentor. Is they'll tell you based on where you are in your life right now, this one step will be the biggest thing that will make the greatest difference to help you to get to the result that you're looking for.
Is there a list of those?
On the leadership training funnel, yes. Yes. But you have to go through those steps with your people. Like Musa, for me, this is what I'm doing. And I've been doing this for Tina's Context too. It really just is a bunch of people. But I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to work with, teach you how to teach Tina, and teach Carmen how to teach Jason, and different people how to do these different steps. But the first step, when they become a leader, I really like this. This is really cool, actually.
Don't you need to help them before they become a leader?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the leaders, because the reason why is because the fundamental skill that we can do is develop corporals, identify corporals, and equip the corporals. The strength of the army is measured by the leaders they have in reserve. It's our leadership reserve that we need to be equipping, so that when it's time for them to shine and divide, they are going to split. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So my focus is entirely on the leaders, not just I'm inviting people along the way, but I'm doing that so I can lead by example to teach the leaders how to do this. That's why I let you guys know I'm reporting to you. Who am I invited? How many have I invited? What did they say? What's working? What's not? I'm doing this because I want to practice what I preach. I want to do what I'm asking others to do. I'm just showing I'm documenting the journey, sharing with you guys. Does that make sense?
What if somebody comes in that's not Seventh-day Adventist and wants to be a leader?
I'm okay with them being a small group leader because we're providing the curriculum, and by them going through our training, they're going to be learning. They're going to be training, and I see a small group leader is a entry-level position.
Okay.
Yep. And then another thing, I don't think we're going to reach like 6,000. We could probably reach 6,000 with Adventists and stuff, but we probably won't reach like too many with like, we won't reach much more than that with just within our people and stuff. But the purpose of this is it's evangelistic, so people are coming in and they're learning new skills, and by coming in contact with us, they're learning. We're using examples from like Amazing Facts, like Bachelor. We're connecting them, and you see other people who are not Adventists who are working with us, and they're growing and they're learning and they're developing in their walk too. So they're understanding more truths.
Another question I was thinking of last night was, if people aren't familiar with the things that we're putting out there, like the direction from God, live your calling and such, and those are what we're doing the call to action for, then how will they do the call to action?
Can I ask someone to write down these questions? Mm-hmm. This is the type of stuff that's really good to have. Like when we're having these conversations about small groups, we have to recognize the questions that we have will likely be the questions other people have, and these will be hugely powerful for building frameworks, for teaching, and for, I forgot what the other thing was. Overcoming objection, and frequently asked questions. You're asking something about, what was your question?
I'm just saying that we're familiar with our direction from God and live your calling and such. But when people are coming in so fresh, they're not familiar with that. And part of the thing that we do is we're trying to share those with people. And if they're not familiar with that, then how can they be adequate at sharing it?
We have a Bible reading. Bible reading is a framework and it levels the playing field. Anyone who could read a question, a Bible verse, can share what we put in the Bible reading. And
but I'm talking about the call to action.
Oh, the call to action?
Yeah, that area.
Well, I need to. One of my lists of things to do is to provide training on the offer, to help people understand what is the offer, what is the purpose, how does this work, and just teach people how to do an offer.
And then where will that be found out?
In the training that we give them access to. We need to create a training team hub type thing that can go through the training.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I think once that training hub thing, it'll answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's the purpose of the training hub, is to answer a lot of questions. And what we have to do is collect all the questions that we have and that we get. Like Moose was asking a bunch of questions. Every time someone asks a question, that communicates to us it's a micro failure on our behalf of our system, because our goal is to automate as many of the questions as possible so they're available to people. And we teach the leaders how to point them to the resources where they can find the answers, so they're not just asking us. So we're empowering leaders to find their answers.
that was it.
Is there any other questions? So, in short, are you unsure of what to type?
You mean like for the questions?
It's further discussion how to document this so we can use for training.
Kind of. I mean,
Yes, because I haven't taught you. Okay, so that's something we want to work on. And we will. That sounds good. One thing that I want to do is, can you write down to go through the GoPro book and identify these and see which ones we can at least apply, just to know it's already a proven path that works really well for building networks. So figure out those chapters.
and identify the chapters.
Yeah, the chapters. Basically the framework of the whole book. And then we'll provide them training in a remixed.
In our language.
Yeah, in watchwords. I was gonna say something. So, as far as you guys go, you want to look at your messenger and you want to have a conversation today with everyone on your team. Go talk to Desire and talk to her about Marilyn, talk to her about Francis. Find Francis. You want to hunt down and find the people, because basically, like, you are responsible for everyone. Work as though you're the only person who's there, but like empower others as though it's like it's like they're. What I'm trying to say is
calling
take
to do the
ownership
same
of
thing.
all of it. Yeah, and that each person takes ownership as though like it depends on them, but they're relying on each other too. Because when you do that, you'll split to 10. Like 10 is the max that we need to really be focusing our 100% attention. Jesus left 90 and 9. He was doing 10x what he's asking us to do. And I just like, it boggles my mind to
And
see one.
I could just see that happen rapidly, you know. So like
the sheep
breaking
like
up once a
watch.
week.
Oh
you know,
yeah.
That seems
A
doable.
splitting, yeah.
Yeah.
It's doable because the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. So the way that you connect and talk with these people is going to greatly impact how fast your team goes. And what's powerful is, like, we're going to see the teams that are splitting. Like, how who do you want to split? Like, how many leaders do you want to develop? How many times do you want to split? Do you really want to go slow? Like, we're living in the last days. Time is of the essence.
Time is
And
of the
time's
essence.
so short. People are dying for the lack of knowledge that you have. Thousands are going to Christ's graves every day. How many people, how long do we want to wait to invite and to split and invite and to split? Because every time we split, there's more leaders. And this is really what's going to make the big difference in people's lives. And you see that like that was just like 7 different points of scarcity. There was like a principle, one of the 6 triggers of persuasion. Is that time, scarcity of time. Okay, well, I kind of want to collect, I want to collect frameworks now. What Russell was talking about, I'm like, whoa, I want to see like, what are all the frameworks that I've been following and using and doing, and like, where do I don't really have an inventory of frameworks yet, but I want to.
His comment was, the one who makes frameworks wins.
Yeah, the one who makes frameworks wins. And like every fantastic, great book, like the 5 Love Languages, sold like 40 million copies. It's just it's a framework. 5 Love Languages. And it's just like when you look back at all of these different successful information, whether they're books or whether they're like steps to Christ, that's 13 steps to Christ. It's a framework. That's why it's so successful. And it's the most translated female author around the world. It's literally just 13 simple steps to Christ. And the 12-step program that to help people to overcome addiction recovery and just clean and sober, that is a framework, a 12-step framework. Everything around these things, like Amazing Facts, they have the 28 study guides. They go through the 28 fundamental beliefs. That's a framework that people are going through. And evangelistic series are following a framework, whether they realize it or not. So it's really fascinating when we understand.
It's more powerful when you do understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can duplicate. That's
do
like the
that.
difference. So like people who don't understand about frameworks, they don't really duplicate. Like they
They don't
don't really
duplicate.
know
That's
about
right.
it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. They are, they might be following the framework unintentionally,
Yeah.
but when you intentionally follow it,
not there
I
anymore.
missed it.
Look at all.
It looked like it was intentional.
Invite
Like,
him
wait a second. But when you intentionally follow it, then it's just like, boom, that's when you can see the
That's when the aha moment
exponential.
goes on.
Yes. But what I think another one of our unique selling points is that we've got a different framework. We're not going through the 28, which is good. It's not that we don't believe that. It's just that, it's the, we're providing something that no one else is. Everybody's doing the 28.
And something else about about it is that we do understand the frameworks, and we're able to develop ourselves through them and teach others how to do it.
Yeah. I really want to teach others how to do frameworks.
Amen.
Yep.
Powerful.
Okay, cool. Well then, let's get to work. And I will be available. The order that I want to do this is I want to work with. If you guys need help, I'll work with you guys. But if not, if you guys know what to say and talk with them, I'm gonna work with Kamran. Make sure that him and I are clear on what we're doing, and then I want to work with Kathy to try to schedule the thing out.
You want to go to the living room to do it, so we can talk.
And remember, you guys as friends. Oh, not 5. There are. Oh, I skipped 2.
Not 2
I was
either.
like, what is going on here? Like, something's not adding up. This is a framework, right? There are 4 ways to communicate. Do you guys remember what they are?
Talking,
What audio messages,
video,
video messages, calling,
and sign
That's
language.
audio. Sign language. You
Written,
already got that one.
written, Enoch.
Oh no, that's
Ah.
Oh,
text.
text. Oh,
Call?
Audio,
Calling.
video.
Audio.
FaceTime.
Oh, we have audio. Excuse me.
That's FaceTime. Good guess.
Written.
Written.
Oh, wait.
yeah. He's renaming it. No wonder our minds can't grasp it.
The written word? Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Pictures.
Thank you.
I thought video on picture was with video.
No.
No. A video has 60 pictures per second. That's different. Pictures worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth
10,000.
60,000.
70,000.
But actually, no, it's 30 frames, 30 pictures per second. And it's a 1-minute video has 60 of those. I forgot the number, but I'd love to memorize it. That blew
That
my
would be
mind when I saw it.
180 something.
Yeah, it was like 180,000, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
It
that.
was powerful. So anyways, so when you recognize this, maybe I should put it in like words and then like pictures and I don't know. But when you recognize this is your tool to communicate. Sometimes you send audio messages. Sometimes you send a video. Sometimes you take a picture and be like, yo, psh, this is the steps. Or you can be like, hey, you want to invite people? This is how you invite people. And, just simplify things. Try to get creative with the ways that you reach out to your team and use them all.
Oh, Enoch, you were gonna talk to somebody about the that thing I sent you last night.
Yeah,
Are you gonna do that today?
I want to. I'll put it down.
Because that would be a fun way to share, to communicate with people. I think that would be fun. You could do a story like that.
All right, let's close with a word of prayer. Dear Father in heaven, thank you very much for your tender love and your mercies. Father, I pray that you'll please guide us and you'll direct us. You'll fill us with your Holy Spirit. Teach us how we can draw near to you. And thank you for what you are pouring out and what you're helping us to understand. We really want to help take the gospel to the world. We want to help share Christ with those around us. We want to learn all that we can from your word, and help us to prove all things, hold fast that which is good. And as we are being blessed by this vision that we have, that we are pursuing passionately. We are seeing that we each have our own unique reasons why we are also attracted to the vision. We pray that you will help us to get clarity in the direction from you. Help us to have that strength to follow and to live our calling, and to be able to teach others and lead others, use our influence to do likewise, and to be supported through that endeavor together. We pray for your blessing in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Once